Walking into an expat Facebook group today to ask about the cost of living in Spain sets you up for financial disaster. You get 50 different answers where every single one is technically true yet completely useless. One person claims they live like a king on 1,200 euros a month, while another says they are drowning on 4,000 euros. Averages are for statisticians rather than people moving their entire lives across an ocean. This video avoids giving you a fish to focus on why the water is more expensive than you think. We are going to break down the hidden inflation that hits every new arrival in their first year. The biggest mistake newcomers make involves listening to the wrong people. You might meet a friendly retiree in a Lisbon cafe who tells you he pays 700 euros for a 2-bedroom apartment in the city center. He isn't lying, but his reality ceased to exist for you 5 years ago. He is sitting on a legacy contract signed before 2019, which is protected by strict rent control laws that cap annual increases. Attempting to rent that same apartment today means the landlord will ask for 1,800 euros rather than 700 euros. The gap between old rents and new market rates in cities like Lisbon, Barcelona, and Berlin has become a canyon in 2026. Relying on the budget of someone who arrived a decade ago is like trying to buy a house using 1990 prices. Their budget works because they have tenure, while yours will break because you are paying the newcomer premium. Americans often land in Europe and feel like they have shrunk. A 650 square foot apartment sounds tight in the US, but landlords in Madrid or Paris call that spacious and charge a premium for it. The confusion gets worse when you head east to browse listings in Bulgaria or parts of Eastern Europe, where you see ads for 3-room apartments at bargain prices. Holding off on packing your bags is wise, because these markets count the living room as a room. That 3-room unit is actually 2 bedrooms and a salon. Seeing a 2-room apartment means you are looking at 1 bedroom. This naming convention ruins budgets constantly. You arrive expecting a home office and a guest room, only to find you are sleeping 10 feet away from your refrigerator. You must either adjust your expectations or increase your budget by 30%. An unfurnished apartment in the UK or North America still has basics, like a stove, a fridge, cupboards, and light fixtures. Moving to Germany often means unfurnished rentals are merely concrete boxes, without kitchen cabinets or sinks. You might find no light bulbs and see just loose wires hanging from the ceiling. They call this the Einbauküche culture, where German tenants buy their own kitchen setup and take it with them when they move. They might also sell it to the next tenant for cash. Not knowing this leads to signing a lease, only to realize you need to spend 4,000 euros on appliances before you can even boil water. This happens in the Netherlands and parts of Italy too. Your first month of rent becomes a renovation project rather than just a deposit. People move to Portugal, Spain, or Greece for the sun, yet spend their winters shivering indoors. This sounds like a paradox, because houses in these countries were built to stay cool in July rather than warm in January. Insulation is often non-existent, while central heating is a luxury instead of a standard feature. You might find a cheap rental for 900 euros, but January and February will require electric oil radiators just to stop your breath from misting up the living room. Electricity in Portugal costs around 25 cents per kilowatt hour, which is one of the highest rates in Europe. Keeping a poorly insulated flat warm can cost you 200 to 300 euros a month on top of rent. The cheap southern lifestyle evaporates the moment you try to replicate the indoor comfort of a northern home. Locals call it the gringo tax, even though it is really just the price of ignorance. You are effectively a blind kitten in your first year. You likely do not know that the plumber found on an English-language expat forum charges 3 times the local rate. Shopping at the premium supermarket in the city center often costs 40% more than the local market 3 streets away. There are also fixers who act as fellow expats, offering to help you navigate bureaucracy for a fee. Some are honest, but many charge exorbitant rates for filling out forms you could handle yourself with Google Translate. This Year 1 premium generally adds 30 to 50% to your total cost of living. You are paying for your lack of local knowledge rather than just paying for goods. Asking people what they spend on groceries is useless because a 22-year-old backpacker eats pasta and tomato sauce while a family of 4 needs fresh meat and vegetables. Their numbers mean nothing to your specific situation. You should instead do the supermarket test by visiting the online store of a major local chain, like Continente in Portugal, Mercadona in Spain, or Rewe in Germany. Fill a digital cart with the exact items you buy every week back home. Include items like almond milk or specific gluten-free bread, if that is what you normally consume. The total at the bottom of that screen is your real number. You will often find that imported items you consider staples cost double what they do in the US or UK, while local wine and cheese cost pennies. This exercise takes 20 minutes and beats 5 years of forum scrolling. Rent is rarely just rent. In Italy, you have spese condominiali, which are community fees that can add 100 or 200 euros to your monthly bill for cleaning, elevators, and gatekeepers. Landlords in Spain might try to pass the property tax or garbage collection fees onto you if the contract allows it. The biggest shock usually comes before you even move in. Landlords often view you as a high risk because you have no credit history in your new country. It is common in 2026 for landlords in popular expat hubs to demand 6 months of rent upfront, plus 2 months of security deposit. That means you need to hand over 12,000 euros in cash just to get the keys for a 1,500 euro apartment. This upfront wall will stop your move dead in its tracks if your savings are calculated month to month. You have to decide who you are going to be. There is a reason the average salary in Portugal is under 1,200 euros, since locals live a local lifestyle. They do not buy €5 lattes every day or run the AC at 21 degrees all summer, and they rarely own cars in the city center. Arriving with a US lifestyle expectation, including private health insurance, international schools for the kids, and a car, means you are not living in the local economy. You are living in a luxury bubble imported from home. That is fine, but calling it expensive just because you refused to adapt is inaccurate. Your cost of living ultimately reflects how much of your old life you insist on dragging across the border with you. Nobody can tell you what your life abroad will cost because nobody else is you. The numbers you see online are just snapshots of someone else's luck or compromises. You will build a budget that actually survives contact with reality if you stop asking for easy answers and start researching raw data like rent listings, grocery prices, and tax laws. Your first year will always be an expensive experiment as the price of admission for a life less ordinary. Subscribe for more honest breakdowns of what it really takes to leave everything behind if you found this reality check helpful.